To say that appearance doesn't matter is actually a lie.
Because whether we like it or not, people make judgments.
When I'm meeting somebody for the first time, it is super important that they get the impression that I want them to get.
Appearance is something that we have to focus on, and we make up these stories about how we have to show up, but then that's also not really us.
Because of being judged, you also do it for you internally so that you feel a certain way. Some people say that I'm unapproachable because of what they see. That's sad.
Hi there, I'm Drew Walker.
And I'm Heidi Joy.
Welcome to Get Over It. So today we're going to talk about appearance, but not in the sort of cliche and, what's the word, shallow way that people think about it, but the way that we all use it.
And to say that appearance doesn't matter is actually a lie.
Because whether we like it or not, people make judgments.
And actually, we learned recently at a conference that I don't remember if it's 3 or 6 seconds, but within seeing you for the first time, people judge if you are worthy to go on with further, to have a further conversation, worthy of being listened to.
Yeah.
So it actually really does. There's actually scientific data behind that we learned about.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of scary. I have a reaction to that because I think about all the times that maybe I've shown up and I've been a little bit sloppy in my initial presentation. I mean, how do you feel about that? Like when you hear that people are making judgments within 6 seconds.
First of all, I think it's important to know. Now we know it. Now we can do
Mhm.
something about it, right? And for me, when I'm meeting somebody for the first time, it is super important that they get the impression that I want them to get,
Yeah,
right? So that doesn't mean that I'm changing who I am. So I believe that my appearance opens the door
yeah,
and what's inside earns me a seat to stay in the room. Does that make sense?
yeah, 100%. I mean, if your appearance earns you a way in,
Mhm.
and then the way that you show up gives you an option to stay. Well, let's talk about that because I do feel like in our industry and in a lot of industries where, there's sort of this leading rainmaking salesperson,
Mhm.
that appearance can sometimes be a big overcompensation and that then there's not a real person inside. And I think that there really has to be a real person inside for
Well, there has to be substance, absolutely,
yeah.
right? There has to be substance. There has to be knowledge on the subject matter. There has to be a lot on the inside, right? But knowing, just like we stage a house, right?
Mm.
Like we could leave a house just the way that it is, right? We could leave a tattered old carpet, or we could replace it. We stage a house because it works. We have to stage ourselves a little bit when we're meeting somebody for the
Wow,
first
that's
time.
kind of cool. That's kind of cool. That's a whole new way to look at it.
Yeah.
I mean, I would never tell a client not to stage a house. So,
Hmm.
like, I should really probably think about okay, it's okay for me to stage myself. That is not a bad thing.
Yeah. So, I mean, I have a funny story about that. I got this interview, and I wasn't actually meeting the principal. I was meeting their representative that was their wealth advisor.
Okay.
And I had something, I had an appointment before that, and I had on a blazer, a nice top, pair of jeans,
Hmm.
very expensive belt, and sneakers. And I don't wear sneakers a lot. I just don't. But I did for the previous thing. And I'm like, I can do it. I'm going to be trendy because sneakers are in. And I got halfway to the appointment and I whipped it into the mall because I was too far from my house. And I went and bought a pair of pumps.
I was going to say, you totally went and bought a pair of pumps.
And when I put them on, I felt different,
Hmm.
right? Like I felt, for me, more professional. I felt like I was worthy of that appointment.
Yeah.
So the funny part about that story is when I got there, he was in jeans and sneakers, and so was his partner. So
Yeah.
I had to chuckle at myself, and that was more of an appearance me thing, because they wouldn't have cared what shoes I had on, but for me, to confidently show up in that first initial meeting, I needed different shoes.
Yeah. I mean, similar story that I'm just remembering. So I remember the first sort of, in my mind, big appointment that I went on. I was introduced to these folks that owned this great house, and I had these great conversations with them by phone. I knew that they were cool, normal people, and I could tell that they would probably be in jeans and a t-shirt. But I just like I wasn't something about it. I Because of the price point of the property,
Mhm.
I just wasn't comfortable walking in there in a polo because that's my normal jam. Is like I'll wear a polo or a short sleeve button down or maybe something that's like this. But I won't generally wear a jacket.
Mhm.
I was kind of like, I'm walking into a $7 million house. Like I gotta have a jacket on. And I felt like I couldn't walk through the door without that on. Now, the moment that I walked through the door, of course, dude is like standing there and he's 6'4" and like smoking hot. And his wife is also just equally beautiful. And they're definitely not dressed in jackets. They are in like t-shirts and really well-fitting jeans and like, so all that.
Yeah.
So there I am in my jacket. So I just immediately take the jacket off.
Mhm.
But I don't know. I'm really driven by the part of this conversation that is that appearance is something that we have to focus on.
Mhm.
And we make up these stories about how we have to show up. But then that's also not really us.
Oh, that makes me think of your favorite word.
Oh,
What's your favorite word, Drew?
ugh, authenticity. Ugh,
Well, you love it
I,
so much because it's talked about so much. You have to be authentic.
oh,
Authenticity. Being authentic. You want to keep saying it?
yeah. So I was on a panel recently that shall remain unnamed. And the answer for every question that the rest of the panel seemed to generate was, well, you just have to be authentic. Like that's the solution to everything. And I think we're in a world where we don't go beneath what these words mean.
Mhm.
And maybe that's why we're having this conversation. Maybe that's why I wanted to do this with you
Right?
because there's the Instagram world is so like authenticity.
Yay!
Okay, like who,
What is
what does that do, and what does that mean, and why does that matter, and why is the latest thing always the solution to everything?
well? And I, for me in my head, there's two lanes here, right? There's the we're applying for a job lane,
Mhm.
right? And that's the initial meeting.
Yeah.
And when you're applying for a job, you're gonna you're gonna bring your A game, right?
Right. Yeah.
Right? You're gonna bring your A game.
Yeah.
Once you've got the job and they've given you permission that it's casual Friday, you
Yeah.
can roll with it.
Right.
Right. But I feel like you have to earn that right for casual Friday.
Yeah.
But when you're applying for the job, it comes a certain way. And that also brings me to think, well, we don't even get to apply for the job until we've been looked at online. So
Yeah.
what does our online appearance look like? How does that look?
Yeah.
Is it 85 pictures of, us toasting glasses together so we look like all we do is drink when we're not working? Is it all pictures of, us at the gym and we
I
don't?
should pull mine up right now.
Are you getting nervous?
I mean, I'm
Are you
not.
sweating?
No, I actually feel like I don't know. I feel like I pay attention to that, and I
Yeah.
feel like I have a pretty well balanced online persona. I mean, there's some pics of me
But it's
shirtless.
but there's
There's some
something,
pics of me in a jacket. Like
right. And there's
my whole
there's
life.
there's something to be said there. And I think that word that you don't like, right? Because you have that balance of jacket, no shirt, at the beach, appointment, just listed, just sold. You have that mix that is authentic, right? Like, because
Feels
that's
it.
that's that's all of you.
Yeah.
So I don't see just the polished perfect Drew. I don't just see the gym rat. I don't just
Gym
see,
rat.
is that a word?
No, that's a word. It's fine.
Right? Like, I don't just see one thing.
Yeah.
I see multiple facets of you. And I think the goal is to show something that somebody will relate to. Well, one person might relate to Jim Drew, some might relate to Jacket Drew. Like there's different pieces in that for somebody to click with something.
Right.
But you have to have that polished, if you will. And I don't mean polished and perfect, I mean polished and real.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, I think that in my perspective is that I, in those moments where I'm meeting people out in the world,
Mhm.
I'm definitely not going to walk into their house without a shirt on. That would be weird.
No?
No, because, but that is that's a part of my life. Like I'm a whole person with a whole life. And so I love that. I didn't really expect to even talk about sort of online persona, but I think that that's,
You never know where I'm going to take
I
you, my
know,
love.
I know. My show notes are garbage, but I do love that we get an opportunity to showcase ourselves online in so that people can get a sense of the whole us.
Mhm.
And then I feel like when you walk in and meet somebody for the first time, or let's stop talking about walking in, like just I can't walk out of the house and go to dinner somewhere that I think I might meet someone not pull together. I can't do it. Arlen says I'm fussy.
Okay.
But I feel like those moments that I pay attention to is my hair generally put together. I mean, it's pretty simple. Um, am I wearing a shirt that's fitted? Does it look good on me? I feel like those extra moments, they give me courage then in the conversations when I'm out there in the world.
So, what I think I just heard you say is you don't just do it because of being judged, you also do it for you internally so that you feel a certain way.
Yeah.
Is that what I heard?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
another and we've talked about this. I I love having W's. Like I love having places where I can check the box and know that I'm winning. And I think my appearance is one place that I can know that I'm winning because I have control over that.
Yep.
And so then when I do that and then I go out there into the world, it's like I get to be much more self expressed out of having done the work to prepare myself, even though that preparation is something that I'm doing that's not just, it's not natural, like, but it is natural for me. It's very natural. It's very authentic for me. I'm
So,
not going to walk in in a t-shirt.
I'm going to try to wrap this
Sure.
in a
Yeah.
big circle.
Make what I said make sense.
So, what I'm hearing is the way that you walk out the door does something for you internally.
Yeah.
In case that while you're out there, because let's face it, our business, we're always applying for a job. We never know when we're going to have that meeting with somebody that we click with that wants to do a real estate transaction. It just happens, right?
Yeah.
So, because we have the data and that we know that we can be judged within 3 to 6 seconds and if we're worthy or not, right?
Hmm.
That we're always prepared for those moments. And the only way that it would look different is literally if you're at the beach or at the gym, right? But other than that, you are gonna, I think we talked about this the other day too. You're gonna show up and do the best job that you can. Like you're not you it's important to you. And it's not like you're fussy in the sense that you're like a woman and it takes you 4 hours to get out the door, but you care. And I personally, I want to do business with somebody who cares. Like your care that you put into yourself is what I want in working with somebody. And quite frankly, it's somebody that I like to be in a friendship with as well because you care.
That's really cool. I mean, it's funny, like I saw a connection there to, like we are always talking about like what is the brand that we want to portray and what are these things that we care about. And one of the ways in business that I've figured out that I think distinguishes me in the marketplace, and this probably isn't true, because now everybody's starting to talk about this as a buzzword too, like excellence as something that's a unique selling proposition. There's a lot of real estate agents that can get the job done, but we are people who are going to invest in the relationship with you, and we're people who are going to deliver excellence. Is
Yeah, but
some version of the statement, but in other words,
hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Hold
okay,
on. Excellence isn't a word for you. Excellence is a byproduct of being in relationship with you. You need to know that.
hmm.
Okay? Because it's a word that people use, but it is not a word for you. It's a byproduct of being in relationship with you.
I mean, I'm going to let that in, and I love that. Like uh, that's very honoring. Thanks for saying that. And I do think you're right because I don't ever focus on excellence. I focus on the relationship.
Mhm.
And I think in focusing on the relationship, the excellence shows up. But to take it back to this conversation about appearance and confidence, I just believe that when I am tending to how I show up physically,
Mhm.
I get an opportunity to actually, like, somebody can relate to me as somebody who can be excellent. It's like
Agree.
it's like permission that that is possible.
Okay.
So I appreciate what you said, though. Thank you. I appreciate what you said.
And it's not about, and you know me, I don't blow smoke up anybody's skirt. It's
Mm-mm.
not who I am.
No,
Um, you know,
no.
and for me, I've also had issues with the way that I look. And let me explain what I mean by that.
Yeah, what's
Some people say that I'm unapproachable because of what they see.
mm,
That's sad.
right, but why?
They
What is
see
it about that? Is that
I
you? Is that them? Like,
I don't know what it is, but they people have told me once they've gotten to know me that they were actually surprised at
mhm.
how down to earth I am. And I've actually been told before that I hide behind my clothes, which was an interesting conversation. And I think that they're
Hang on, that you hide behind your clothes?
Mhm. That I use them as a
Mhm.
barrier.
Okay,
Um, and
all right.
that was one of those kind of moments
Yeah.
where I got hit between the eyes, and I had to really do some self-examination around
Okay.
that, and that's why I'm so clear on what I need to feel confident to interview for the job, to then sit back and relax and know that I've earned a seat at the table. And you know, we spend a lot of time together. The first thing that I do when we're done is I wash my face and I tie my hair on the top of my head. So clearly,
Yep.
that's not who it is. And I remember after the hurricane, I literally had not showered in 4 days. No shower.
Mhm.
Um I think I brushed my teeth, but um I had I had clearly no makeup on. I had a hat on. I was gross. I was hot. I was sweaty. And I was talking to the community because everything was upside down. And I had more outreach around that person
Mhm.
than, I mean, I pay a ton of money for my professional videos, and they're great. They're awesome. But I have more people that relate to the dirty, stinky Heidi, right? Than the than the dressed up one. And I'm both. I'm not this or, I'm this and, right? I'm both of those people.
Yeah.
And once you're in relationship with me, you know that. But until I've earned the right to sit here, I also have to apply for the job.
Yeah. I mean, I think that there's definitely some validity to maybe what those folks are saying in that your appearance creates a barrier. But I think that candidly, I think that that is the same for anybody who we would call attractive in today's culture. I think that people are intimidated by people whom they believe, like, we are a tribal species and we create these pecking orders and we're constantly trying to assess, how do I stack up against this person? And I just feel like the when I met you, I was definitely intimidated by you for the first couple of seconds. But then I moved past that intimidation and I asked some questions and I realized that you're a real person. And I think that maybe that's another lesson here about appearance and authenticity is that my favorite word, oh, is that if we can move past the appearance and just stick with it and
Mhm.
ask some good questions, we could really probably learn something from this person and maybe find that we're a little bit more related to them than we thought that we were.
I think we nailed this subject at a high level. Let me know if you think that there's something that's still ruminating in your head.
Mm-mm. No,
Um,
no. I mean, I think that if this resonated for you or if you got something out of this conversation, please make sure that you hit the subscribe button so that you can catch our next conversations and you don't miss anything.
and if you feel like there's somebody in your world that needs to hear this message, please share it with them. That's how we grow.
And if you think that the whole world should hear about it, put us up on the side of a blimp, use a series of carrier pigeons, maybe more easily use some social media and post us to your social channels. Tell everybody you know.